thank you like so much for coming on. I just am really, really excited to have you on. I think the first time, for anybody who doesn't know, the first time you and I came into contact, it was during COVID. It was still over Zoom. And I can't remember. I think there was a panel of different, was it practitioners or just Filipina? I can't remember, but you were doing free ancestor readings.
Oh, yeah, I think I was being interviewed or something, and I was just like throwing down like readings like that, which I kind of miss. I was like,
Yeah.
can I just can I just do that just real quick because I really enjoy it's really like one of my I tell my husband, I'm like, dude, this is my jam. Like I love reading on the fly and like if I have the chance, like but it's not something I advertise myself as or put myself out there as because I feel like it's a natural talent that I freely want to just if I do it, I do it, you know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you were just like, if anybody wants to get read or whatever. And honestly, I'm actually a very skeptical person, and you are one of the people that I was like, I was skeptical. I was like, yeah, like you can read me. And then you gave me this whole reading about my grandfather on my dad's side. And a lot of the things you said, I was like, none of that happened, right? Like I was like, no, none of that's true. But then I talked to my dad and he was like, oh yeah, actually like, X, Y, and Z, all these things happened. And I was like, I never knew that. And you like that. And I was like, oh my God, this whole time, like I thought she was just like pulling stuff out of the air. And I had no idea that
I mean,
it,
technically,
well,
from the
yeah,
cradle.
right. And yeah, it was like one of the
Yeah.
most surreal readings I've ever had, like something that like connected in such a weird way. And then
Yeah.
from there I started following you, and then I took that workshop from you, and we did like a journey to go speak with the ancestors. And so like I've always admired your work and whatnot. Speaking of which, if you want to introduce yourself with your name and pronouns and let everybody know just a little bit about you.
Yeah, my name is Katuuran Lynn Pacificar, pronouns she, her, they. I live here in East Hollywood in Los Angeles, California. I'm a practitioner of folk medicine and magic and my family's heritage, which I come from the Filipino culture. And I am the CEO founder of Herbalaria, a company that's rooted in our family's medicine and practice. And we just love teaching and making our medicine and making that available and accessible to everyone. So,
So you said you grew up in this medicine. What did that look like?
oh, wow. Okay. So let's go. We have to go way back to when I
Okay,
was we since I was a
perfect.
kid, it was like, and what's unusual about me, and I talked to the my daughter about this last night, which is interesting, and I started talking to you about this earlier. This is my dad's room. Now I didn't grow up here in the 80s. We got this house in the late 90s, but last night when we were clearing, just like organizing our room, and I told her this is our priestess duties. We have to maintain our altars. We have multiple altars. And I've been trained in creating altars since I was a child. Well, one, my parents are Catholic. We have altars to Santo Nino, to Blessed Mother, and all that kind of stuff. But I always created my own altars next to my bed. I'd have Archangel Michael. I would create like traveling altars, things that that we sense to be, oh, that's a very Christian Catholic thing to do, but it was an ancient practice. And anyway, to go back to talking to my daughter last night, we have an old chest here with like mother of pearl inlay. And then my husband brought up the fact, what happened to that bamboo thing with the ancient script writing and this and that? And you ruined it when you were little. I was like, I ruined a lot of artifacts when I was little
Oh no.
because I know. And everybody looks at it right now like, oh, that's so expensive. It's because my parents raised me as if it were normal objects.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's definitely a perspective change.
Yeah. So it was normalized for me to be immersed in, Mindanaoan weaving and carvings, because my mom is from Cotabato in Mindanao, and that's a very Muslim city. It's half Muslim, half Christian, but a lot of it that's now changed the area. Anyway, that's a long story. And I told my daughter, so when I grew up, a lot of these practices, like my dad doing hilot, the oils, things of my culture, speaking the language was normalized. I wasn't forced to speak English. Um, as a matter of fact, I keep telling people Tagalog was one of my first languages. So I had an accent growing up, and I still can have it. It's just that you were made fun of for speaking differently, looking different, you know what I mean? So going back to your question, how did I get involved with it? I was immersed in it.
Yeah,
It
you
was
were
an
like, I was
everyday
born
thing.
into it.
I was born.
Yeah,
It
you're
was
like,
like,
I didn't get
hey,
I didn't become part of it. I just
yeah, I
yeah.
just was born into it, and I think what's great about that, what's unusual again from my upbringing, is that I was raised with my grandmother, my mother, my dad, and my lolo and lola. So there was like a lot of people in one little tiny apartment in LA, in Koreatown. I didn't have my lolo and lola, my mom's parents, very long, but I did grow up with my dad's mom for a long time. So I was the inquisitive child, always asking questions. Mama, where'd you come from? Where is this from? Da da da. What language are we speaking? All the things that I always tell people in this day and age, this generation, like if your grandparents are still alive, please ask the questions. Please ask their origin stories, because I was asking since I was 4, which is why I'm a culture bearer, why I bear my family stories. I don't say I'm every Filipino medicine thing where I know all of the islands, 7,000 islands, and all these tribal practices. No, I don't claim that. What I do claim is my family's practices. And so being in that environment was like, it was such a gift from my ancestors. I was given things that are, like I had my first crocodile tooth necklace when I was a baby. And then a tribal, like a very sacred red blanket that was given to me. I still have it in my closet. And it was my kumot, it was my blanket, it was my security blanket. And so when I would see spirits, so I could see spirits and I would get afraid. And my dad would tell me, don't be afraid, you have to be strong. So he'd say, huwag ka matakot. You have to be, don't be scared. Dapat ka matapang. You have to be very brave, strong. And then, so I had to develop bravery, courage, and that inner knowledge of like, yes, I'm dealing with the spirit realm. And then when I would get afraid, or when I dealt with possession or any type of spirit stuff, I had my blanket, and I would throw the blanket over my head to protect me. And my blanket is kind of see-through a little bit, so I'd be able to see what was going on outside.
But you had that
But
barrier to like protect you.
and it has all the old, and it has like a lot of our tattoo symbols on it, and the colors. So these colors and symbols were protecting me. I don't think I really told this story to anyone, to be honest with you, but
Oh, well then I'm honored
um
to be I'm honored to be
because
getting the story.
I feel like I have a little freedom here to like really go back.
Yeah,
Normally
please.
people, yeah, thank you. Normally people ask me like about my company and this and that, but I'm like, if you really want to talk about the origins, like my origins started there, like from a baby, from being gifted the crocodile tooth, from being, and many things, like things that are um, indigenous to our culture,
Yeah.
right? At a very young age. So it was almost like a foretelling of what I would be doing in the future. And I would tell you, like, this path is not an easy path, especially when you have to contend with colonialism and of course being in LA. This is the best place to grow up in if you want to like build some skin. some spiritual skin. Yeah, like last night it was hard to sleep, and then my husband's like, it's because we live in the city. I was like, yeah, but this is where I've been trained to deal with demons. I've been trained to deal with different energies and different spirits, different cultures, because it's so diverse here. And if I were living in the Philippines, in the mountains, in the Bukid, I think I would have a different sense of reality, right? And only a few people would have access to me,
Yeah.
and only the believers. Here we have modern day technology, social media, and I'm not like famous or anything, but I know enough people, and I always allow ancestors to um, reach out to the folks that do need to meet me, that do need to talk to me and see me and receive my medicine and receive my teachings. I don't really go out there and say, hey, I'm a teacher, take my classes. I only, and I do in a sense for shamanic art and journeying, but not like to become this path, because my philosophy is you need to find your own path, your own magic, your own spell work, that kind of stuff, because everything in life is suggested. I think this is a suggested way of doing it, but I think that your own way is the most powerful and potent way of of healing and doing work in community, as long as it's respectful and centered in integrity.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah. What's something that you find yourself, because you're a healer, so what's like one of the things, like the most common thing that you're having to remedy?
Traumas.
Yeah.
I work a lot with spiritual and ancestral traumas. Yeah. And
I mean,
then
I think that's why I found you. I think that's exactly why I found you. Oh my
I
God.
work a lot in the ancestral realm. I really
Yeah.
do. It's like, and earlier when I was saying readings are my jam, it's because it really is. I've been doing this since I was younger. I go back and forth between the spirit realm, this realm, and sometimes I have to tell them, hey, I'm human. I'd like to be human for a little bit. Like I need to, I need to take care of me. I need to cook.
Yeah.
I need to clean the house,
Yeah.
I got to take care of my kids, garden. But no matter what I do, like everything's just so spirit filled. And like even gardening, the plants are talking to me and I'm getting guidance from them. My kids are my teachers. They're so grounding. My husband's so grounding. And thank goodness for my family, because they are really my rock to do this kind of work. And even in some aspects of our culture, to be a legitimate healer,
Mhm.
you have to have a house and you have to have a garden.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Why is that? It makes sense, right? Because if you're
Yeah.
going to heal, you need a place to call home,
Yeah.
because you can rightfully command the spirits on your own territory,
That's very true.
right? And then two, you have the plants, because then you can pull the medicines, or you can communicate what you need, or what they or ask what kind of insight they can give you on what medicines to use for your client.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I've gardened before, but I've never had like an actual like space where I'm gardening. It's like
Mhm.
other than in pots. And now that I do have a space and I'm like I'm barely starting right now, I've already learned so much. And
Mhm.
yeah, like you said, I mean like plant communication is a big piece of my practice, but having like a garden that is full of those plant spirits that I'm daily communing with, that just changes the game on like a completely different level. It's actually insane. I've been like learning so much from them. Um and so like
And
the fact that you say that like you have to have a house and a garden to be considered a healer in the first place. I mean like now that I have both of those things, it's that makes so much sense. I don't think I would have understood that prior to being where I'm at.
yeah, because you passed a lot of tests.
Man, it feels like I did.
You went through several, I don't want to just say tests, I think rites of passage,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Into coming into your true being. like you are a vessel for healing because you're literally, you cleared a lot of things out, even from here and to your womb. Yeah. So
Mhm.
like now you can focus. So
Mhm.
now you're like this hyper beam of light work that can happen, not just for yourself and for your ancestors, you know, because you got to deal with both sides. But I mean, I think for other folks that need your type of medicine, because every healer is different, you know, like we
Yeah.
don't have all the same healing skills. Like I need to go to someone else for other things, you know, like I
Yeah.
can't do everything for myself.
Yeah,
Like I
you
was
can't
telling
have
my husband,
everything.
you know, like we it's amazing though, like how the universe has gifted us with humans here on this plane that can deliver what we need while we're existing to ease our existence.
Yeah. Can I ask about I think the last time I saw you, you only had the one tattoo on your forearm or like the
Oh,
half
this one?
sleeve. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think the other arm is new. I might not be.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Um, I think so. This is within the past few years. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
can you tell me a little bit about them? Because I mean, well, tell us a little bit about them, if that's comfortable for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I have like more I have this too. And like I have some on my legs, but it's like it's on my I'm wearing sweatpants. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, so your right arm represents the father side, the father lineage, and this is consistent in other cultures as well. I've been studying other tattooing and other indigenous traditions where the right side is the father side and the left side is the mother side. However, it can be switched because they could say it's your right dominant or your left dominant. So
Uh,
I'm gonna like have a little backstory on that. When I was little, I liked writing with both hands.
oh,
So
okay.
ambidextrous, you
Yeah.
know? And so my mom kind of forced me to write with my right hand, which means like there could have been a switch on my sides. I think I'm basically too, it doesn't matter. I'm male and female, both all at once, you
Mhm.
know, which is
Yeah.
anyway. So my dad's side is so we have the panel design, and then my mom's side is Hiligaynon. So I have this more linear design. It's
Mhm.
very like symmetrical in that way. I really love this design because I'm the only one that has this, where the waves wrap around my arms.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, and it acts like, and if you look at it, it looks like a shield, and this is where I wield my weapon.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I was like, it's they may be two separate pieces, but I feel like they're two pieces of the same.
Yeah, it's my armor. Like this is my protection. This is the work. And I've had people tell me it looks like they belong on you. I was like, they've been on me. It's
Yeah.
just expressed now in ink.
Yeah.
And so you'll notice there's a consistent motif of buaya uh, teeth. We say ngipin ng buaya. So this is a double crocodile teeth, and oh, I forget my camera's over here. And then these are the waves. This is these different motifs. This is a puso, which is like rice wrapped in coconut leaves that they offer to ancestors, or you can eat it too. In the Philippines, I had it with like chicken barbecue, and then you
Oh,
just wrap up. It's so cute. It's so cute. It's like
it's like
Filipinos.
little, it's packaging. I just love the cute little packaging of the
I
coconut.
love the packaging. Filipinos are amazing at packaging yummy foods. They're in leaves,
Yeah.
right? You know, um, what else do I have here? So yeah, so this is the panel design, which includes this. And then these are drawn from the Banig designs in the Waray culture. So the Banig weaving. So a lot of our tattoo designs are taken from our weavings, from basketry, from pottery designs, and a lot of our cultural treasures are kept in the Field Museum in Chicago.
Oh, really?
In the basement.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know. I had the privilege of going there with my cousin Natalia. She was recently on the article of Vogue Philippines where Apa Wangod was
Yeah.
featured. Also, Manong Lane was the one who did my tattoos. He's my Mamba Batok. Um, but yeah, so I went there and it was really amazing to see how much America has of our stuff, but doesn't show it and put it out there.
Yeah. I mean, well, also like we've been here, like
Questions.
we we've been here a long time, and like there's so much history with Filipinos and the US, and it's like I feel like it doesn't really get talked about a lot, or even like people don't know about it.
I think we get downplayed a lot. I think like the OG Filipinos in Louisiana, the ones that
Yeah.
like hopped off the galleon boats, swam, and then like they were the ones who started the shrimping industry, you know what I mean? Like, and not everybody knows that. And even the Filipinos that landed in Morro Bay here in California, or the Monongs up in, Alaska. So
Yeah.
it's just I don't know. I think us Filipinos are not very, we don't assert much. Like it's more like we're more loving and like, okay, like let's not stress right now because we want to, we're well known for being a welcoming culture, probably why we're so susceptible to colonization. Um, we do what we can,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah, we have a lot of history. But anyway, to go back to my tattoos, this design is inspired by the Boxer Codex. Also, like this is the Kates, like a banca, right? It's like a boat. We don't say boat, but it's banca, balangay, where my ancestors are with me, and we cut through the waves. And so I have this arrow, which is like directional. Like what I do is like I'm moving forward with healing and with the work I do, and this is my shield. And so it keeps me protected from um, energies that are not beneficial, energies that are harmful. And a lot of the things that I do have to be for the good. Like everything I say, I won't share opinions. And if you'll notice on my social media or anything I do, which is probably why I'm not growing at the rate I'm growing, because I'm not. I have like a very like I try to be gentle with people. Like I want people to be.
Yeah.
I want you, when you come to my page or when you come to my home, you feel like you're at home, that you can chill and relax. Like
Yeah.
nobody's trying to assert or project their opinions or their politics, religion, whatever that is. Like, I'm not here for that. I'm here for you to feel like you can rest with me.
I think that you do a really good job about that, because I mean, again, that's just a trend that I'm seeing with a lot of healers of like, you want to have a space for people to just be able to rejuvenate and rest and
Yeah,
recover.
yeah.
And like, that's the whole point, right? Um, and like, there's nothing assertive or aggressive about that. It's just kind of like, I'm here when you need me. I'm not
Yeah,
going to go out of my way to come to bring you and make you rest, but when you get to the point that you really, really need that rest, I will be here. Um,
yeah.
and so I think again, like the growth though, like I don't think that that doesn't need to be there in order for you to do the job that you're doing, because clearly you're doing it so well already. And like you don't need to be like have like millions of followers or whatever in order to be able to have
No,
people healing.
I
But
actually like where I'm at. I feel really good about the work I do. It's authentic.
yeah,
It
yeah,
feels good. It's organic. I grow like a plant.
yeah, yeah. But like strong and steady, and like when you get,
Yes.
yeah, it's like it's not like artificially manufactured or anything.
I'm like Mama Guava, like my tea, my
Oh, do you
guava
want to talk
tea.
a little bit about Mama Guava?
Mm.
I would love that.
Okay, so Mama Guava. I have a relationship with the guava tree. I've had that relationship since I was in elementary school, almost high school. I think it was like junior high, actually. Like I was 11, 12, something like that. And my mom's best friend brought me to a farmer's market here in Hollywood because we would go every Sunday to the Hollywood farmer's market. And she's also what and she'd be like, you get this plant, it's good for you, it's good for diabetes, this and that, da, 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 right? And I'm like, okay, so that was my first introduction, was getting her at the Hollywood farmers market. So she's from here, from me, but also from local farmers. And that relationship started, well, I used to live in Glendale. She was just in a pot. I'd water her. Um, so you can imagine growing up as a teenager, like you learn what it means to build relationships, what it's like to have a good relationship, and what's a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
And I was going through a lot of that. So I would see her in her pot. She's just like this one one stick with leaves, like branching out, and then sometimes her leaves would drop because I wouldn't water her. And then I would just like always look at her. That's it. And be like, all right, you know, um, I guess I'll water the plants. And I did tend to the plants when I was younger. That's how I started learning.
Mm-hmm.
But I also got involved with school, boys, and and not good boys too either, because I started getting involved with like toxic. I was in toxic stuff, right? And back in the 90s, it was like chart clubs and gang members, that kind of thing. Anyway, when we moved to this house, I graduated high school. It was, that's how young I was, by the way. I was like 15 when I was doing all that kind of stuff, like 14, 15. But anyway, when I moved to this house and I graduated high school, finally planted her in the ground. Boom. This became her home. And then even then, did I only start learning about her seasons and what she started really meaning to me. And when my grandma would get some of the leaves and like boil it and drink the tea and mix it with ginger. So she'd make salabat with bayapas leaves. And there were years where there were droughts. So she would grow with the tiniest fruits, little, dry, sometimes sweet. And I'd feel really like, wow, this is what guava is. And that's where she said, well, that's what I will be if that's how much you put into me. Mm-hmm. But if you pour yourself into me, you'll learn more about yourself than you ever will. Wow, that was like a big lesson for me. I'm getting emotional because it really means a lot to me to talk about her. When people do herbalism or talk about plants, there's not that level of emotion. I think it's more of like, what can I take from plants? But like when you can really develop a relationship like I have with her for over 20 years, it's different, to speak from that perspective. And then so she would reflect me. When I was growing, she would grow. She would start having bigger leaves. When I would water her more and pay attention to my garden, and when rains would come, she flourished. And it went from like little small yellow guavas to massive green ones now.
I've seen the ones on your story, and they are just like,
they're massive.
Yeah, they're huge.
Yeah. And she's been giving fruit every year. And the thing is, people say like guava is like after the 5th year of growth, like, okay, that's when they start growing, right? A fruit tree. And then they're like, oh, it'll start slowing down production after years later. I was like, she's never slowed down production.
Wow.
And when I sip on her tea, so this was the wisdom I wanted to share, is instead of like getting your daily news or like watching, when we go on social media to see what's up, I will drink the tea. So you could do this with like, but you have to have a plant that's growing in the ground. You sip the tea And then that's your daily news on what's going on in the world, because they are the ears to Mother Earth. They are the voice of Mother Earth. And I think that's consistent with anyone out there. If you start young, you're born into it, or even not even born into it, but later you realize really like that you love plants, and you don't have to be a vegan or anything. It's just that you love Mother Earth. You love the plants. You can hear their voice. You can hear the animals. Then you are also tuned into the frequency of Mother Earth.
Mhm.
And that's your news. And what I've been hearing is like a lot of stuff is going on in the planet, and this is why I'm able to predict earthquakes sometimes a lot. It's almost scary, but earthquakes, weather patterns, because you get so sensitive to that. And this is where I teach healing with shamanic art, and this is gonna I'm gonna segue into the shamanism part. When you practice this type of spiritual connection and relationship, interrelationships with nature, you become more sensitive to what's up with the planet and even humans, and what this behavior is going to trend towards. So when they talk about climate change, when they talk about environmental like damages done by humans, that's not a lie. And there's like there's propaganda out there that climate change is fake, which isn't. It's not.
Yeah.
And so I get my daily news from drinking Mama Guava. When I ask her, when I take her in, I can actually taste the health of the planet. I can taste the environment, which is why it's so important. When I do garden, she gets organic compost. She on occasion I'll do my moon blood rituals outside, and I feed my plants with my womb blood, and that's very sacred, and it's not something uh that I don't normally share that with everybody, but it's definitely something worthy to talk about, because I know that there's folks out there that are talking about it, that are in conversation with the indigenous ways of just like feeding the earth with our own energies, right? And even if you don't hold a womb, you use your heart energy, and you use your energy from your hands. You touch the plants and get into the earth, and and this is where I feel like Mama Guava has taught me deeply, was that connection,
Mhm.
was being rooted in my culture, being rooted in our healing. And it doesn't need to be 1,000 plants. It could just be one. And that's why when I teach Halamanism, I say, I assign people plant partners, or actually the plant partners pick them. And, I was chosen by Mama Guava. And this last cohort I had of Halamanists, I created little cards of plants that came to me, and they all chose from a basket, and that became their life partner, plant partner.
The whole piece about getting your daily news, the way that you phrased that, like that's the first time I've ever heard or had anybody put that into words in such a clear way of like, yes, this is how to explain it, because it's hard to explain that of, well, like I know what's happening around me without hearing it from people or like going on social
Mhm.
media. Like I am connected because like the earth is telling me, the plants are telling me, like I know
Yeah.
what they feel and I know what they are going through because they talk to me and I talk to them. And it's like such a
Mhm.
hard way to put that into words, with the fact that you're like, oh yeah, I just get my daily news from my cup of tea from Mama Guava. Like she's in the ground, she knows, she's also connected, she's also talking to people and talking to the earth. Like I just, that was just like a little revolution. Thank you for being able to put that into words finally for me. Can you tell me a little bit about your workshop? The
Oh,
shaman.
Halamanism.
Yeah.
Well, I teach two things: Halamanism and healing with shamanic art.
Okay.
So I can start with healing with shamanic art, which is teaching from the perspective of core shamanism and incorporating Filipino practices into learning artwork, learning how to the basics of art. So basically, I teach um, almost like not college level art courses, but it's like art therapy, but you still need to get your supplies and learn like the techniques of art, something that you may take in college or in high school, but easy to understand. And so this class that I'm working with right now, we're here at my home and we're in the gardens and we connect with the plants. We have field trips. We just took a field trip to my neighbor who's an elder Filipino lady, and she has all these amazing plants and she was teaching about them, and that's part of Halamanism as well, which is connecting with our elders and what they know and how they tend to their amazing gardens. Because if you go to the Philippines, a lot of their gardens are so beautiful. I mean, aside from the weather being perfect for them, they're really passionate about connecting with their plants and having their medicine as soon as you walk out the door, like, oh, this is oregano, um this is ginger, blah blah blah, and having it right there. And so they're able to connect with the plant. So this is part of the plant communication, hone in on that, and then start creating artwork. Mm-hmm. And then how that ties into their spirit, what their ancestors are saying, what their plant ancestors are saying. And it's just amazing, like, to teach.
Yeah.
Halamanism, so that is not just about art. It's we do movement to the frequency of plants. So I'll usually play some amazing, like, upbeat music. I'm like, how do plants move? What's the frequency of plants? Some are fast, some are slow, but we're moving with the fast, so I'll put on some like EDM, I'll put on some like trance, some house music. So Halamanism, I incorporate the frequency of plants into movement, into meditation. We do shamanic journeying and preparation. We even prepared food as a community as part of Halamanism, because Halamanism isn't just an individual journey. We take it as a community. Mm-hmm. And we do it like how our families do it in the Philippines. So if we're preparing food at a party, what do all the aunties do? We all gather in the kitchen and go, somebody takes their role. One's chopping the onions, one's
just
like
little productive line. Yeah.
Right. Yep. So we were able to make one of the Visayan dishes, like laswa, which is like a vegetable soup. And it was just amazing to do that. And then when we closed, we did ritual. So we open container properly and then we close the container properly. So yeah, that's what I do, teaching Halamanism and then healing with shamanic art. And then this cohort now I'm combining both. Okay. And so our next field trip will be we'll be going to botanic gardens, and then they'll have a final presentation of everything they've learned.
That sounds so fun. Man, I wish I was out there. I would be on these field trips with you and be like going with you and everything.
You could just take a trip out here, you stay here, and then
don't test me. I'll do it. I'll come out there. I'll stay with you. That's fine.
I mean, like, I only offer it once a year. That's the thing. And I keep telling people, if I put the call out there and you don't answer, wait the next year. And if he doesn't, it's not for you. Like, it's just like, I only allow who can be a part of these containers, because there's something keeping you from this type of class right now, because the energy exchange is nominal compared to what you receive on a like vast scale, plus the ancestral healing, plus like, and you'll get more out of this than you ever will in any other class. I guarantee it, because I've been in so many things, and this is there's nothing like it. Yeah. At all.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool because it's like you can be like, I created this, I made this community, there wasn't something like this, and this is what I know I needed and I know that other people need, and so I'm just gonna make it myself, which I think is kind of a boss bitch move anyway.
Thank you. That's what I like to do.
Yeah. We are coming up on time on just the YouTube portion, so I'm gonna have you say goodbye to all the YouTube people. And so everybody, thank you for watching. And where can they find you? And I'll link everything down below.
Find me on Instagram. I am Herbalaria. I'm also on TikTok. I do have a YouTube channel as well, so you can subscribe, like, and see all my videos there. And I do a lot of other things, but you can find me and my company on herbalaria.com. Oh my God, I just brain farted.
It's okay.
Okay, wait, you can find my website, herbalaria.com, and my art website, which is linpacificar.com.
Perfect. And then all of those will be linked down below. So if you want to find her at any of those, just click on that and see what she's up to. But otherwise, I'm going to pull you over to Patreon. They have some questions for you. And then I also
Okay.
want to pick your brain a little more about like crocodile medicine, if that would be okay. But yeah, so thanks everybody, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.